Good afternoon, wonderful humans. How are we all doing? Are we good? We're well fed, we've been networking, we've had an awesome day so far. I've loved sitting in on some of the sessions, listening to some of the speakers, and I know even for myself, I am bubbling with ideas to take back to the office tomorrow, and I'm sure you are as well. Well, we have a pretty action-packed afternoon for you this afternoon, and I'm really excited to be talking to you about your future consumers and about your future employees. Now, there's no questioning that young people, they think a little bit differently to the rest of us. They communicate differently, they connect differently, and they collaborate in very different ways. And at times, it can leave all of us sitting there watching young people saying, what are they doing? They're doing TikTok dances on public transport. They told me I look slay. What does that mean? Don't worry, I get the same feelings as well. Well, my name's Scott, and I'm really excited to be chatting to you this afternoon about understanding your next generation of consumers and your next generation of employees, looking at how we can understand them as they enter the workforce and they enter the market. So that's what we're going to be unpacking this afternoon. Now, a bit about who I am and why I'm speaking to you. My name's Scott, I'm 23 years old, and I'm the CEO and founder of a company called Bop Industries. Bop's a company that I started back when I was 14 years old, and for the past 9 years, I've had the pleasure of working with young people across the country and around the world, and working with technology to really understand how young people are using and working with technology, and how we as organizations and as business and community leaders can harness the power of our next generation. Now, for myself, in my day-to-day, I have the pleasure of working with about 20,000 young people every single year, understanding what they look for in the brands that they're working for and the brands that they're buying from. And today, I'm going to be sharing some of those insights with you to look at how you can capture that next generation of consumer. Now, for me, I'm 23 years old. I was born in the year 2000, and I fall into a generation called Generation Z. Now, Generation Z is anyone that's born between the years 1995 and 2010. So our Gen Zs at the moment are anywhere from 13 up to 28 years of age. And we're the first generation to grow up truly surrounded by technology. And that's earned us the nickname, the digital natives. Now, for us, we're that first generation that don't know a world without a lot of these new and emerging technologies. Even for myself, I was born in the year 2000, and I don't know a world without Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi hit the mainstream in 2006, just as I was starting primary school. The first iPhone came out in 2007, and my first phone was an iPhone 4S, and Facebook hit 1 billion monthly active users before I was old enough to get Facebook. And because of this, I don't think it's unusual to pick up my phone, tap a button, and be FaceTiming someone in real time on the other side of the planet. I don't think it's weird to have a question, type it into Google, and get 1,000 answers spat out at me in a split second. So for our generation, for Gen Z, we think very differently about technology. And technology is very much part of our day-to-day lives. Now, Gen Z at the moment are actually the largest generation in Australia in terms of the numbers. There's 4.6 million of us across the country, and we make up a collective 20% of the Australian population. Next to us, we have Generation Alpha. Now, Generation Alpha is anyone born between the years 2010 and 2025. Now, I'd love to get a quick show of hands. Does anyone here have any Gen Zs at home, born between the years 1995 and 2010? Awesome, hands down. And who here has any Gen Alphas at home? Fantastic, great to see some hands. Now, Generation Alpha are even more technologically advanced than our Gen Zs are, and they've been nicknamed Generation Glass, referring to the touchscreen devices they grow up with. This is the generation that can reach down, put their thumbprint into their parents' phone, unlock it, and start swiping around to play with their favorite apps before they're old enough to form full sentences. And what a lot of people say about Generation Glass, and a lot of the experts are saying, is that the first language Gen Alphas learn isn't necessarily any spoken language. The first language they learn to communicate with is technology. And that's because our Gen Alphas, they learn how to confidently communicate and collaborate with a piece of technology before they're old enough to engage in a full conversation in any spoken language. So they, again, think very differently to technology, even compared to our Gen Zs, and they're even more technologically advanced. Now, if it does make you feel better, if anyone's feeling a little bit old, just know that the other week I was talking to a bunch of Gen Alphas and I mentioned CDs. And the first question after my presentation was, "Excuse me, sir, what's a CD?" At that point, I was Googling over 20s retirement villages. I was done. Now, Gen Alphas, there's expected to be even more of them than Gen Zs. At the moment, there's about 3 million across the country, and it's expected to grow up to about 5 million across Australia. So collectively, Generation Z and Generation Alpha, they pose a massive market for us in terms of consumers and future workforce as well. And it's important that for us as business leaders, we're thinking forward into the next 5 and 10 years, understanding how we're going to market to these digital natives and how we're going to recruit these digital natives. And that's what we're going to be unpacking today.